in the team, and they were achieving. They become a real Premier League football team, and
Mm,
then suddenly this season it's gone to dust. All that promise, all that potential. It must be heartbreaking for the fans to see, last season being considered one of the up and coming, indeed potential teams, doing so well, and you
mm,
get that pride in your team, and then the start to this season with obviously the boardroom problems with the manager, and
mm,
then taking on another manager who's then been sacked, you think, well, he can't do the same to Dyche. It would be foolish, one imagines, if after half a dozen games they haven't won, if he
mm.
gets rid of him. But you never know these days, do you? I think that the
Oh,
owner is a bit of an extreme example of what does go on in the Premier League and other leagues around the world. That
mm,
success has to come immediately in the form of, you know, 3 wins out of 5 games or something like that.
mm,
Otherwise, your head's on the chopping block.
mm,
And I hope Sean Dyche, as I say, I think as a manager, I like him. I like his manner when he's interviewed. He always seems positive. He never gets down in the mouth when they've lost or whatever. He's always talking in a very positive way. He clearly knows his football. I think
mm,
he can probably mix it with the players. I think he will tell them what he thinks, which is a good thing if they're not playing well and stuff like that. So
mm.
I wish him success there. And for Forest, there's no reason that I would wish Forest not to do well, even though they're in our European competition that really Palace should be in. But okay, we did a swap around there for whatever reasons. But
Mm,
I don't wish them badly. So I hope Sean Dyche does all right. Maybe
mm,
I'm putting it like this, but perhaps I've got my doubts. I've got my doubts that Sean's approach is what that club and those players need or want. That's just a gut feeling I have. I think
mm,
they need to be a bit unleashed, whilst obviously having a decent defence. But I
mm,
think he's going to physically hold the team back with his tactics.
mm,
And maybe they'll get some good solid draws or good solid 1-0 wins at home, things like that. But
mm.
it won't really be exciting football for the
No.
fans. And maybe you can't have both. Maybe sometimes you've got to live with, more pedestrian football to stay in a division if you don't have the money that some of the top clubs have.
So,
But yeah, I wish him well, but I'm not sure. It seems to me to be a bit of a rushed appointment to get someone
yeah,
else in place quickly. So we'll see. I just hope he does all right.
yeah. I mean, just before we go on to Crystal Palace, that's the one next one that we're going to go on to. But just before we go on to Crystal Palace, there's 2 points you made. Um, is a bit of an extreme example of what happens in the Premier League. So it does happen, but it is extreme. And then the other point is that it was a bit rushed. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
why didn't he have? All right, so when he sacked Nuno because of whatever reason they had a disagreement, whatever, it could have got caretaker in because most clubs do
yeah,
that. They get a caretaker in
absolutely.
and then while they assess their options, I mean, Manchester United did that with what's that? Their ex-player, the one that went on to manage Leicester.
Yes,
Uh, anyway,
yes, Ollie son of Solskjaer, wasn't it? Yeah,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I'm
no.
talking about the more recent one, the one before Amorim.
I
He,
went.
he,
I went to.
he then went on
We
to
went to
manage. He then
Middlesbrough,
went
was
on.
it?
No, he went on to manage Leicester. Van,
Oh
I think,
yes, I know. Yeah, yeah. He was a centre forward, wasn't he? Yeah,
yeah,
Dutch,
yeah,
Dutch fella. Can't think of
yeah,
his
yeah.
name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but they did that with him, and you know, and then I think Celtic did that when they got rid of. I think Celtic did that when they got rid of Brendan Rodgers or when he left.
Mm.
There was Martin O'Neill there. Why can't he do something like that? Why did he have to rush and just appoint a manager and say, oh, because to me, that is a bit foolish. I know he doesn't care
Yeah,
what we think, but it's not wise. It's not wise decision, is it? Appoint a caretaker and then assess your options. To me, it seems he runs it like a one-man business. I have the money, I call the shots, I'm the alpha and omega of this football club. Whatever I say
yeah.
goes. That's not how it works. Well, it might have to pay for it by relegation, but I do feel sorry for Nuno Santos because he might have to go down with the ship. We don't know yet, but anyway.
What
So
do you mean
now,
at West Ham? Do you mean?
oh
Is
yeah,
that what
so
you meant?
oh yeah, he's at West Ham. Who's that? Oh yeah, Sean Dyche. I mean, son,
Yes, all nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sean
yeah,
Dyche, because that happened when he managed Burnley. Yeah,
yeah.
he had to go down with them, didn't he? So I don't know. Yeah, Sean Dyche. Sorry, yeah,
But I do agree with you that that the owner at Forest, he could have given himself thinking time. Everybody sometimes in not just football, in life, you need a bit of thinking time before you
yeah,
blurt out an answer straight away. You've got to reflect on it. And I think I agree with you totally. I'm surprised he didn't appoint a caretaker manager perhaps from within the club or
yeah,
someone else. He must have contacts just to tide us over until, and then sometimes you find after 2 or 3 months that person is filling the role very nicely. So
yeah,
you give them till the end of the season, and so
yeah,
so they're not under a false promise of staying there necessarily.
mhm,
But I agree that should have been, for me, that would have been my approach rather than going through the same procedure again as Postecoglou,
yeah,
appointing someone else who is on a bit of a hiding to nothing. Now, managers, as we've said before, are lucky nowadays. They're not sweating on losing their job because they won't
yeah,
have enough money to live on. I mean, they're multimillionaires, these guys from the Premier League, and it's
yeah.
kind of a bit of a revolving door sometimes for some of
It
them. They keep
is.
getting new jobs
Yeah,
and they make a lot of money when they're sacked. But so it's not that side of it. But of course, being a manager, it must dent your pride to be sacked. And Sean Dyche won't want to be sacked. He'll only want to achieve and get them winning games again. But if
mm,
he doesn't, he's going to start to feel the pressure. And everyone knows that the owner can fire someone at the drop of a hat.
yeah,
Such that the crowd, I think, the crowd when Ange Postecoglou was sacked,
yeah.
the opposition fans were singing "You're going to get sacked in the morning." Well, they say now in future people are going to be singing "You're going to get sacked."